Hi there, Stacey Ashley here, and I want to talk about something that I'm so surprised that has even come up in this past week, and it's about gender. So let me tell you a story first. I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts about why this is still a conversation, still an issue in 2020. So back in last century, when I was in high school, I was always in the top 2 or 3 people academically in my year. I was vice captain of my high school. I represented the school in, I think, at least 6 sports. I was on the debating team. I was, in all of the performances and the musicals and all of those sorts of things. So I was a real, part of the high school community, and played lots of roles, including a leadership role, being elected as a prefect and, one of the captains of the school. And when I went to have my career counselling session, as everybody did in their final year of school, the advice to me that I was offered was that I should just go and get a job as a secretary until I got married. Now, that was last century. I get it, and things have moved on. And fortunately, I didn't listen to that advice because I didn't get married till a lot later, by which stage, I had a degree with a double major. I was a general manager of a global communications company, so it didn't stop me by any means, but it was still a real indicator of what was happening in terms of the roles based on gender and the expectations, and that some people, even at that late stage of last century, were not kind of moving with the times. What I'm surprised about, though, is some significant number of years later that we're still seeing the same kind of stuff. So I'll tell you a little story about what happened late last week. So it's about, I guess, as leaders, whether you have a hierarchical role or whether it's a leader in your community or in your school system or, somewhere where you have influence over others, we really need to be creating norms that allow people to see the possibilities for themselves. If they can see it, they can be it. And I'm a great believer that everybody has a contribution to make. Some of them will make it in a quiet way. Some of them will make it in a louder way. That's all fine. But we need to stop stifling people's potential by putting them into a box. And as leaders, if you are hierarchical leaders, if you are influencers, then you have the real ability to make a difference there by stopping this, classifying people and then limiting their opportunities and possibilities because of it. So last week, I was one of a number of people who, from a business perspective, I put forward a proposal for a piece of work, a coaching assignment, which is obviously part of what I do. Now, the thing that disturbs me about this is that I was obviously very qualified. I was shortlisted to the final 2 people who were going to be considered as potential coaches for this individual. And the coachee, the person who was going to receive the executive coaching, without speaking to either of the potential coaches, did not want to work with me, which is fine, because I am not male, which is not so fine. And I'm just really quite stunned that we still see this kind of activity, this kind of thought process, this kind of putting people in boxes, even now. And so what I want you to think about, I think this is really important, what I want you to think about is, what are the opportunities that you can create rather than, stifling people? What are the possibilities and the potential for you, for the people around you, for your children, for your community. Let's get beyond this. We have other bigger, more important things to be worrying about than, do you tick a particular box, that actually isn't about your capability or your capacity or, your experience or relevance. And so I think, anyway, I just wanted to talk about it. I feel like it's really important. And as I said, I'm kind of disappointed that sort of thing is still happening, even today. So I would love to know your thoughts and comments. I think it's such an important conversation that we keep having. I'm disappointed that we have to keep having it. But I would love to know, what you think we can do to continue to, remove the barriers, remove the stifling, stop classifying people on things that actually are not relevant to the situation. Alrighty, that's me done for today. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. I think it's such a key thing that we continue to speak about. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you again soon.